So let's say you're dating someone, and for the first 2 or 3 months, maybe even a year, the person is somewhat joyful to be around. You appreciate their presence, they appreciate your presence. And then after that first few months or so, or year, some kind of challenge happens where both of you don't agree. And you see that the person's actions far exceeds the situation. Maybe they overreact, they become extremely angry, anxiety comes up in them. They may even say some words to you and blame you. And for those first few months or even a year, you hadn't had a disagreement. So you begin to figure out that, was I scammed? I met this person and they were pleasant and joyful. We had minor disagreements like dry the dishes before putting them in the cabinet, small things like that. But the big one, the big situation or challenge happened where I asked you to pay the car bill and you didn't pay it. And it's been 3 weeks behind. And now you have all these charges on your account. Bigger challenge. And now the person says, well, I thought you would do it. It's your car. But you had already had the agreement to do it. So you start to see what comes out when two people meet and they don't go further than the conceptual meeting, if we will, where my concepts agree with your concepts, I agree with them, and that's it. You don't go any further than that. And when you do that, it ultimately leads to this scam-like relationship that we were talking about in the other video. Because most people don't go beyond the conceptual meeting, let's say, as far as knowing the essence of who that person is you, and the person knowing the essence of what they are is them. And you fail to realize that because you only met on the surface level. You didn't really go deeper, which when you do go deeper and you have a situation like that, ultimately you both acknowledge the situation consciously, compassionately, and there's no anger or anxiety that comes up because a mistake can happen, a misunderstanding can happen, and it's fine when you've gone deeper than that conceptual reality. Staying only in that surface level leaves your relationship in that surface level. And whenever something comes up, or the person may not be feeling well, and then you come and you're jolly and joyful, and they don't know themselves, you don't know yourself, and you come about like that to the person. And ultimately, in that surface level relationship, it can make the person that doesn't feel well that day be irritated with you because they haven't realized how to go beyond that negative thinking. And so whenever the other person comes in and they are not in that state of mind, but the other person is in a certain state of negativity, it increases the negativity in the person who was already negative instead of the negativity going away, because the mind feeds on negativity. So if there's any type of surface level interaction that goes beyond that deeper essence of who you are, ultimately you will have these type of battles with each other. And I say it sounds like or seems like a scam because even me, when I was dating, married now and things, son and child. But when I was dating, I did meet people on the surface level. So I had to bring something to the table. They had to bring something to the table. That was like the first thing we talked about. What do you do? What do you have? And things. And we hadn't gone beyond that. So whenever some kind of situation would come up, yes, there would be turmoil. There would be negativity. There would be anger. There would be stress. And even some points, it would be, well, I'm not talking, you may not say it, but you wouldn't want to talk to the person for a while. You just didn't want to be bothered. And I had never even thought about what did I get myself into? Because somewhere in me, it knew that this is only a surface level relationship. It's not that deep. But you would still try to go on and be with the person, and maybe you wouldn't talk for a day or two and allow the negativity to dissipate. And then you would probably come back and be okay again for another month or week or 2 days, who knows? But ultimately, taking your relationship deeper implies that at the beginning of the relationship, it's not based on conceptuality. It's not based on your income. It's not based on what you have. It's based on the truth of who you are and how we can navigate on this planet with each other and use each other as tools to do the things we need to do. But without that deeper truth, that deeper realization, almost all relationships at some point will fail. That's why you can have a relationship that's been going for so long. It's 40 years. But in that 40 years, how much stress and how much, because you see in some relationships, maybe mostly the guy will say, yes, I've been on the ball and chain for 40 years. And there's a reason why they call it that. There's a reason why it's a negative connotation towards being with someone so long. And then on the other hand, the woman too, it may be some kind of negative connotation towards the man. So use these practices that we talk about here to root yourself in presence, even meeting a new person and dating. Ask questions like, I don't know if you probably will, it depends on the person that you're speaking with or dating, but do you know the essence of who you are? Could be a question. And if they say something like, what are you talking about? I wouldn't say you want to reconsider dating the person, but ultimately you might want to go into that with the person before you start anything. Because ultimately, if you don't, you're looking at a stressful, up and down roller coaster relationship, which can ultimately seem like a scam if you met the person and they were not on a roller coaster. It was all wonderful because the person at the beginning has this showing this type of personality that everyone could like, but it hasn't showed any type of personality where there's challenge, where there's tribulation, where there's lost. Even loss can bring in some negativity. So ask questions like that. Be straightforward and genuine. Do not try to be something you're not. That's the biggest one. Because even if you go off of your thinking and thinking, I'm a successful businessman, and you bring that to the table, let's say, what happens when that company goes bankrupt or you can't work anymore? Then what? So always take it deeper than your conceptuality. Go beyond the state of fear and have some courage and be the true essence of who you are, which is a conscious presence. Thank you for joining me.